Boy, did you see what happened on Tuesday night? The story that broke over the wire on Tuesday night, it was just unbelievable. Okay, so I don't even know where to begin with this. Really, I just don't know where to start. Basically, what we have here with Louisville coach Rick Pitino is this. A man who was having apparently an affair with a woman named Karen Sypher, who apparently had sexual relations with Rick Pitino in a restaurant years ago, and suddenly he is being extorted $10 million from Pitino because, I mean, who knows why? It's very just really weird. I mean, Pitino gave Karen Sypher $3,000 2 weeks after the sexual incident over in the restaurant. They had sex. Okay. They had sex, that's the first thing. And the $3,000 was because apparently she didn't have health insurance and she needed to get an abortion. My goodness. I mean, I mean, I don't. I'm not touching this story with a 10-foot pole. I don't know where to begin, where to middle, and I don't know where to end. But I'll tell you what. This doesn't really concern Pitino professionally necessarily, but it's a huge hit to his reputation. I mean, his character is a big part of the recruitment process, and you got to trust in a guy like Rick Pitino. What kind of trust can you give him when you see a guy involved in something of that magnitude? But on the other hand, it really doesn't really affect the actual players and the coaching, and it doesn't necessarily affect the university. I mean, this all happened off the clock. It's not like they did it on the basketball court or they did it in the locker room. And it's not as if it's anybody related to any of his players. Maybe, one of the trainers. I think that was who Karen Sypher was. She eventually married one of the guys. It's just the whole thing's so weird. The whole thing is just so weird. But now all of a sudden, Karen Sypher is trying to extort money, $10 million from Rick Pitino for whatever reason. And I mean, I don't know if it's going to fly. I just don't. I don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be weird. And then that's the thing. I mean, now anybody that looks at Rick Pitino is like, ooh, that guy. Ooh. But I don't know if it will necessarily stop him from having success in college basketball. And I also don't know if it's going to necessarily result in some kind of a big scandal in Louisville, the university. And because it didn't actually affect any of the players, I'm not willing to believe that the university is about to fire Rick Pitino right off the bat. I just don't think that's going to happen. But, as we always like to do here in the city, two things. We like to stray away from stories that don't actually relate to things that are affecting teams, players, and scores. And we certainly don't want to dive right into stories without having all the details. So there's going to be a trial. There's going to be something about this. I don't know how it's going to end up. And I don't know if I think of Rick Pitino any differently now than I did then. I mean, I would have to. I think of him differently than that. But outside of that, I mean, it doesn't really mean that he's a bad coach now, or he's a bad motivator, or he's a bad mentor. I don't think any of that changes. I mean, for kids who are realistic about it. If they're highly moralistic, then maybe that's different. But otherwise, I don't really see what the difference. I don't really see how this would negatively affect that aspect. Where it would really have problems, I think, is in the recruitment process, because parents would be involved in trying to let their kids join a guy like Rick Pitino. That's where you're going to start having problems, because parents are going to look at this guy and like, oh my God, helped a woman get an abortion. Woo, woo. Which could also be a philanthropic measure. It's interesting, though. It really is. It just seems like one of those stories where you don't have all the details yet. It's sort of like a piece of Swiss cheese. And the rest of this year will be devoted to filling in the little holes in the Swiss cheese. Then we'll have a clear picture. But we don't have one now. And really, I mean, it is shocking. It's shocking, but it's kind of weird. It's just too weird for me to really even get into any more details. It's just so weird.